this video, I'll be giving you a walkthrough of our Propresenter setup at church, including a walkthrough of a full service setup, how we structure our Propresenter files, our looks and themes, and also how we use automation to help our volunteers run our service each week. Let's get started. Before we jump into Propresenter, I thought it would be a good chance to have a quick conversation about how our church runs and the context that I'm in. So our church has 3 services a week. This includes Sunday morning, which is in the room only, so for people in the room. Monday evening, which is online only, where we stream live and we only go online. And then we have Tuesday evening, which is an in the room only service as well. So we don't actually have to run online and in the room at the same time. However, we still need to try and make it easy for our volunteers to be able to use Propresenter and set up a service relatively quickly. So let's go and take a look at our Propresenter setup. And so here we are in Propresenter. Now this is our Sunday in the room service we're going to walk through first. So we have our general structure of our service down the left hand side here. Now all of our in the room services are fairly similar in structure, and that comes to our advantage later on, as you'll see. So what do we have? We've got our countdown clock. We then have song, MC spot, song, message or preach, MC spot, song, end of service. How does this all work in practice? Well, what we've done is we've tried to split it up each presentation for each item. Why do we do it like that? Well, it enables us to be able to swap things in and out. So if I was setting up for church on Sunday and I had a different song here, I could just right click, delete that, come up here into songs, and then drag the next one up into Sunday and put it in the right place. So it's quick and easy to replace things like that. But let's walk through our actual service. So our first slide here, we have all of these timers and they're all here to reset. Why do we do that? Well, just because during practice before a service, sometimes we found that people would forget to go and reset the timers. So before we go into a service, we always click the first slide, resets everything, all our timers. Then we go to our cover slide, and then we go to our countdown clock. So cover slide for the screens in the room. So this is showing you the screens in the room, and this is the stage display that people will see from the stage of church. And then our countdown clock sits here for 5 minutes. We put that on, the doors open to the auditorium, and we are good to go. As soon as that countdown clock hits 0, our worship team are up on the stage and straight into their first song. And we run a pretty basic lyric setup. So a couple lyrics on the screen, and then our stage display gives our worship team the lyrics on the current slide, as well as the lyrics on the next slide, so that they know in advance what they're about to sing in case they've forgotten or had a little bit of a mental hiccup. So that's song 1. Now we put all of the slides in for all the lyrics for our song. We don't go verse 1, chorus, verse 2, and then jump back to chorus. We put all of them in. So we've got verse 1, pre-chorus, chorus, verse 2, pre-chorus, chorus. Why do we do that? Well, we do it just because it's a little bit easier on our volunteers. They can sit here and just press the next arrow the whole way through without having to jump around and make mistakes. So it's nice and easy. We want more people involved, more people willing to help. So we want to make the job nice and easy for them. So as soon as the song finishes, our MC spot begins, and Amy would jump up here. And so she gets her name up on the screen, and she also gets a timer. So this is her stage display. She knows she has 5 minutes to get through her MC spot. Now, whenever there's someone up on the stage at church or there's nothing to show on the screens, we always show the title slide for our message series. So this one was called Fast Builder. It goes up whenever someone's talking about something and there's no visuals. So Amy will be giving the announcements, the MC information. And then we had a video this week to show. We run through our video, and then we're straight back into our title slide again while Amy finishes off. Once we're done with our MC spot, we're into our next song. So the worship team would come up onto the stage and they'd go through this song, same as before. So there's song 3, then we're into song 4, exactly the same as before. And then straight after song 4, our pastor would get up, or whoever's giving the message. So this would be their slide. They'd get their name up on the screen. The background music plays as well. So that's controlled by Propresenter, which you can see here. And then we'd flick through. Now, we do something a little bit funny here. So we have pastor's name here. And then our next slide is pastor's name as well. And then it's the title of their talk. So why do we do that? Well, our pastors generally get up and they like to tell a little story or sort of try and relate to the crowd a little bit. And so they don't want their timer for their message to start straight away. But we want their name on the screen the whole time. So they get up, they get their name. When we click the next slide, exactly the same is shown to the congregation. However, the slide for the stage display changes for the pastor. So they can see the next slide here is the title of their message, and they get their countdown timer as well. Now, all the slides after that are up to the pastor or the message giver and whoever's doing it and what they want. So we just have title slides here, some Bible verses. This is just one of the messages from the week. But every single one of ours always finishes with a yes to Jesus. So that's always here at the end. But everything between the pastor's name here, the second slide with the timer, and the yes to Jesus is up to the pastor. So it could be images, it could be different things there each week. Then we're into our title slide here. And then we have our second title slide. Why a second one? Well, again, we want that timer to stop there because we want the pastor, if they keep wanting to talk after they've said the yes to Jesus prayer, then we want to give them that chance and still count in their time. Then we end our timer. Everyone sees the same thing except for the pastor. We're then straight back into our MC spot with Amy's back again. And once we've had her name up for a few seconds, then we go to our title slide again while she does the rest of her MC spot. She gets her countdown timer as well there. And then we're into our final song brought to you by our worship team. Same as before, same look, same feel. And once they finish their song here, we hit this last slide. And then it's actually set up to reset all of our timers and stuff ready to go for next week. But why do we have that if we have them at the start? Well, we want to have them at the start because we just want to make sure that the very first thing we do before the service starts is reset everything. Just because if we're practicing, we might go through the whole service, hit this one at the end, and then we might need to go back and edit or change something in here and accidentally start a timer and not realize it. And so we just always want that to be the first slide we click. So let's take a look at our online service. Now, straight away, you'll notice a few differences in how things are structured. So our online service is a lot shorter than our in-the-room service. So we have our reset all at the top here. We have our countdown clock, which is a little bit different to our in-the-room countdown. Our MC beginning, we have our one song, then our message, MC at the end, and then our closing slide. How does this all work? Well, the first thing I just want to point out is the obvious over here with our stage display. So when we're online, what our setup looks like, and you can check it out in one of our other videos, is we actually run Propresenter out of our computer into an A10 Mini, and then it keys out the background for the camera. So this is running a green screen for the keying out of Propresenter. If you're not sure what that means, don't stress. You'll see everything pop up here. But just remember, where there's green on our actual online doesn't show anything except the camera feed. Our stage screen down here is a little bit different as well. And so on the left-hand side here is actually an embedded thread from the internet of all of the Facebook and YouTube comments flowing for the person who's up on the stage to see and to be able to talk to those people in the chat, as well as what's on the current slide and also some slide notes. So our first slide here is our reset all slide. And so that resets everything. And you'll notice it's thrown up this media image and blocked out our green screen. That's perfectly okay. But it's also started our music. So it starts our background music. When we go live for our service, the first thing we do is hit our countdown clock. Now this here is our countdown clock. And if I just go through a couple of slides here, it's just got a whole bunch of different phrases and it actually just keeps running through itself. So it's automated every 30 seconds. That will change slides. Now, why is our countdown clock saying 146 up here or 2 hours and 26 minutes down here? Well, that's simply because it's actually counting down to a time. So our online church starts at 7:30 p.m. and so it automatically counts down to 7:30 p.m. It doesn't count down 5 minutes because that relies on me to press the button at 7:25. It naturally just counts down to 7:30 p.m. automatically. So it's actually 5:04 right now. So it's 2 hours and 25 minutes till that time. So that's a little sneaky hack to make life easy, to make sure you always start on time. And you'll notice those slides have changed as I talk. Once we go live, what happens is as soon as the person clicks this slide here, we actually go live to our camera. So if I click that, it turns to a green screen, which means the camera would be showing through our ATEM. But it also starts our OC MC spot, so our online church MC spot countdown, which gives our people on the stage the countdown. So they have 10 minutes for their MC spot. They get a title slide as a lower third, and we generally leave that up for 10 seconds or so, and then we take it down. So unlike in the room, often on online church, we don't have anything on the screen because we've got a camera and a feed. We don't want to leave our lower third up the whole time. We want to put it up for a short time and then take it down. Now our MCs automatically move us into worship. So sometimes that's someone singing live in the studio. Sometimes that might be a video. If it was a video, we'd have our video here and we'd click our video next, and then we do our lyrics over our video. So in this case, it would be someone live, and so they'd be swapping on the stage, and then we'd go into lyrics. Now, you'll notice that nothing's popped up here on the lyrics. Why is that? Well, this is one of those things that occasionally happens between Sunday and Monday. So in our Sunday service, we had the song Build Your Church, and in our online service, we've also got the song Build Your Church. And so when I click on this, nothing is online, but if I change this back to our congregation, it's still set up for our congregation. So to fix that for online on a Monday, all that I need to do is right click, edit actions, audience look, and I'm going to change it to online church song lyrics. Now when I click it again, there's our song lyrics. So we use a lower third with 2 lines of lyrics and a small faded out section at the bottom. It's transparent so you can see through it, but it just allows the lyrics to stand out enough over the top of people or the background or whatever's coming through the camera feed so that you can read them at home. So we found that the best. We liked it a little bit better than having a block of color like black or white behind there with black text, because you can still see everything on the screen. And so there are our lyrics. So we'd flick through the song again. All of our lyrics are all there. We don't flick back and forth between verse and chorus. We just go through chronologically one after another. And if I scroll all the way to the end here, you'll see that it's a lot of slides, but we don't mind that because it means there's less errors. Once we get to the end of the song, we're going to go straight into our message. Now, when I click this slide, it's going to stop any music that was playing. So if we were playing music off the computer for worship, it would stop that. It's going to stop any media. So if we had a worship video, which we often use on online church, it would stop that. And it's going to start worship background music. So that's different background music that we use during our message. And it's going to have this look on it, which is just a clear look. So I click it. You'll notice blank screen. There's nothing on anything, and our background music is started here. Then we go to our pastor's name. So whoever gets up, they get their name at the bottom of the screen, and that is just the lower third for about 10 seconds. Then we go to the next slide, which is blank. This slide here is our timer start. So that's our timer for our pastor. Again, often our pastor likes to get up and say a few things to the crowd, tell a story from this week, maybe just talk to people in the chat. And so they don't want that to count as part of their message. So what they do is they get the blank slide, they can talk for a couple minutes, and then we start our message. So the timer starts here. And so the timer starts, they get it on their stage display, and then we're into their title. Now, the difference here is that every time we put something up, there's a blank slide in between. So we go title, 10, 15 seconds, nothing. This is all one long Bible verse that we have to reflow, and then nothing. Point, nothing. And so that's the way that our message works on online church. It's a little bit different, but it just means that each time we put a new message in, we just go through and we put in blank slides really between everything so that there's not always something on the screen. So it's a little bit different in the room because we want to allow some blank space on the screen. And again, once we get to the end here, there's always the yes to Jesus prayer. So from this slide here up to this slide here, they are all the message notes that change each week. And so it could be text, it could be pictures, it could be a few different things depending on what the person wants. They're the ones we swap out. Yes to Jesus stays at the end. And after that, we always have a blank slide to see what's happening, just in case the pastor or whoever's talking hangs around and says a few words. We then go to our MC spot number 2. Now this slide here, what it does is it clears the media. So if we had a picture or a video up there, it would get rid of it. It stops the message countdown clock from the pastor. It clears the audio that was playing and it starts new audio. So it's a bit more upbeat music for the final MC spot. We then get the people's names up, 10 or 15 seconds, and then we put that off. Why do we do it like that? Well, we just think it's a bit clearer. These people are going to be around for 5 minutes or so, talking about what's coming up next week, anything else that people need to know, and we just want to have their names off the screen for a while as well. Once all that's done, we hit this final slide. So it gets rid of the camera feed, it starts music, and it gets rid of any media that's playing as well. And that's how we finish our service, and we would leave that slide up for say 3, 4, 5 minutes after the service so that people can sort of finish off their chats and then head out before we stop our feed. And so that is how we set up our online service. What I want to talk about next is structuring your files and having a good system. So over here on the left, we have all our presentations that stay here all of the time. And so we have in the room church, countdown clocks, online church, and songs. Now we could separate these some more, but that's what we're working with at the moment, which is working quite well. So if I go to in the room church, we've got all of the slides and presentations that form a service, such as end of service slide, MC spot 1 Sunday, MC spot 1 Tuesday, Sunday, Tuesday, and then we've got preach Sunday and preach Tuesday. We do this because often Sunday and Tuesday might be different messages, and then if one person's setting them up before Sunday, they can set them both up without too much hassle. And sometimes our MC spots are a little bit different between Sunday and Tuesday as well. And so that's in the room. Our online church service, you'll notice everything is labelled OC this, OC this. That's just to make sure that we all know which presentations have been dragged into which service and to make sure we have the right one. So we've got countdowns, MC beginning, MC spot 1, prayer, preach, reset, all of those sections. Now, a couple things about our church. We do a prayer update once a month. And so this slide here we didn't see before. But what does that allow us to do? So when we do our prayer update once a month at church, I just go and grab these slides, I drag them into my online service, I go into my online service, and I can drag my prayer update up under MC spot 2 because it always forms part of this MC spot. And so that just allows us to quickly and easily have it set up. These slides are already set up ready to go with the looks, and then I just have to go through, quick edit, and change out the prayer and praise points for that month. Then when we're on our next week and we need to take it out, I can simply just delete it, and I know it's always going to be living up here in online church. So it's a good way just to make quick changes between different things if you've got a certain rhythm to your services. The other section that we have is our songs. So all of our songs we use live in here. And of course, we should know by now that we can have different versions. So you'll see in brackets here, it says multi-tracks. If I right click on that and choose an arrangement, I go change it back to master. So we can keep different versions in there of our songs. But if I'm changing a song each week, I can go, oh, this week we're singing Fresh Wind on online, drag it up to online. I'm going to drag it up and I'm going to get rid of Build Your Church. I then would just need to go and double check that this one look here is the right look. OC song lyrics, and straight away I've got my lyrics ready for church this week with that song. So it's nice and quick and easy and simple because of this file structure. The next thing I want to talk about is themes. So themes can get complicated. And if you're not sure how themes work, that's okay. Go and learn about how they work before you watch this. But if you know how they work, let me just show you how we've got ours set up at the moment. We've only got 2 themes set up in here. We've got the congregation, so in the room, and we have our church online set up. So if I go and look at the congregation, you'll notice they're all fairly similar. But what we've done is we've made a new theme for each element in our service. So we have a Bible verse. We have a yes to Jesus. We have people slides, so like names and things like that. We have titles, so it could be the point for the talk. And we have Bible verses with a title. So this would be the Bible verse. This would be, so this would be the Bible chapter. So like Genesis 1:1, and this will be the verse down the bottom here. Now they do all look fairly similar, but sometimes depending on what our series is about and what the background looks like, they will get changed around a little bit. In our online service, it's a little bit different. We have a lower third set up for each thing as well. So we have people slides, so something like someone's name. We have our main points, so in the talk, what's the main point getting shown? Our Bible verses, our Yes to Jesus slide. We have a prayer and praise set up, but we haven't used it this month yet, so it's not fully set up properly. We have our song lyrics set up. We have our countdown clock, so that's at the start. And we have our end screen here. We also have a blank slide set up here as part of our theme, just to make sure we had something called blank slide so we could label it for people to see, oh, that's a blank slide. So that's our themes. Now, why is it really useful? Well, what we do each week or each month, depending on whether we're changing the images for a whole series or not, is I can quickly come through and change the look of all of the slides at once. So someone would make a new image for our lower third down here. And then what would happen is we'd just drag it in. We'd delete this one and we'd put the new image in there, nice and quick. And so once I do it here, I just have to go through and work my way down each one. So let me show you how that works. I'm just going to go and grab that same image I just had in there. I'm going to drag it in from my computer. I'm going to drop it in here. I'm going to drag it down into the right spot. Then I just need to drag it under my text. And if I go here and delete this one, what I would do is if this one needed the image next, I would just right click on this, copy, right click in here, paste, then just drag it underneath. And I'd go through and do that for each one in our theme. Then I'd have to do it for the countdown clocks as well. So it's probably 3 minutes of work to change all of the images in every theme here, which will automatically change them for online church in the front end. So it's nice and quick and easy to do. The last thing I want to take a look at is how our looks are set up. So let's go in and take a look at our looks. So you'll notice here that we've tried to keep things nice and organized for a start. So we have a blank slide, we have our default still here, and then everything for online church is labeled OC, and everything for church is labeled C. Now most of the time, these will match the same name of our theme. So over here we have Church Online, we've got people slides. So I have OC, people slides. And if I hover on this, it's matched to the theme of people slides. So we've just replicated all of our themes in here into our looks so that we know exactly where they should be connected to. You'll also notice as I go through my online church things here, it's only ever going to show online church. It's never going to show on my congregation screens. Same with my congregation screens. It's only ever showing over here, not on online church. So if you wanted to show both at the same time, you could do that really easily. You'd just have, say, song lyrics. Over here, you'd have it on default if you were like us. And then this one here, we'd have church online and we'd go down and we would choose lyrics. And then we're all set up ready to go. And so that's how easy it would be to set up multiple outputs at once, as long as we've selected what we want to send there. And it will push to both at the same time. However, for our church, we're just keeping things nice and separate at the moment because we don't have to run things at the same time. But you'll notice our naming convention is pretty standard throughout. So OC is always online church. For our looks, we've put a C in front of it so that when we're double checking if we have an issue, we can see, oh, C is church. That's the right look. Or, oh, we were at online church and it says C. Well, quick, we just got to swap it to OC song lyrics. So it's really easy to troubleshoot. Now, the other thing I just want to quickly talk about is swapping things in and out each week. So we've discussed how we change songs over here in the songs. We've discussed how we change our looks and themes. The only other sections that change in our service are the names and the message slides. So up here in our MC spot, it might not be Emma and Sam each week, but all we have to do is go quick edit, and it might be Emma and Josh. And straight away, that slide is done and dusted. Then we come down here, and our message slides need to change. Well, I would just click this first one, holding Shift. I'd come down and I'd click to this one, holding Shift. I'd press delete, and we delete them. Then I can bring in the new slides. Once I brought in the new slides, what I generally need to do is to reflow them. So there's another video we have about importing slides, but what we do for online church is we put a blank slide in between everything. So I would go into reflow here, and I would say put a blank slide between these two. I just go insert. Now I've got my yes to Jesus, then my blank slide, then the rest of my yes to Jesus. Over here, does that work? No, it doesn't, because it keeps the look and the lower third when we want a blank slide. So we just have to add an action, audience look, and we would go to blank slide, and there it is. So you can see it's nice and quick and easy to be able to change things. If we were in the room, the only other thing that's a little bit different is we could change names. We can change videos in and out. But down here in our message slides, we don't have to reflow them. They all go in nice and quick and easily. And then also, the last thing that we generally change are all these images. Now to do that, if I open the media bin, I would have, say, an image in here, and I would just drag and drop it onto all of those slides. So it's nice and quick and easy to be able to do that as well. Now, some of the ways we use Propresenter might not be the best way to use Propresenter or the easiest way, but this is what we found works at church. And each time we learn something new or we want to change something, we do things slowly. We don't want to make a whole bunch of changes in one go, because then our volunteers won't know what's going on and have a large learning curve each week. We just want to make small little changes as things change in Propresenter and things get easier. Now, this video is actually a result of a question in the comments on another video we've made. So if you've got any questions, or you've got any comments you'd like to make, or you've got any other ideas for videos you'd love to see us make, then please drop them down in the comments below, like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.